So I recently saw the TV Glow back in early May with one of my friends, and this is one of these movies that has been like lingering in my mind for the past couple weeks, and I kind of want to like go into like a little small deep dive into this movie. So yeah, sit back and enjoy. I'm gonna go super existential with this movie here, and bear with me. I recently got sick, so I'm recovering, and my voice is a little bit fucked up right now. But yeah, here is I Saw the TV Glow. So I Saw the TV Glow is Jane Byrne's second feature, way past from her last film, We're All Going to the World's Fair, which I saw a long time ago, and I actually really enjoyed that film, even despite it being very distant and kind of experimental in a lot of ways. And this film is also experimental in a lot of ways, dealing with a lot of existential dread and Lynchian thematics. And I say Lynchian thematics because it's very inspired by David Lynch's Twin Peaks. We follow two characters, Owen and Maddie. Owen played by Justice Smith, and Maddie played by Bridget Payne. Both of these characters are going through really intense, dark experiences in their teenage lives. Some of the stuff they are going through are very reflective of the trans community's struggle with body image issues. Something that's also very clear, but also not entirely clear, as this movie kind of operates as like a slow, dry, psychological thriller. And that I had to say that up front because mainly because of the fact that this film is being advertised as like a straight up horror movie, and it's not actually a horror movie. It's just a Lynchian psychological thriller. So going into this movie, you have to understand that it's operating in such a different astral plane or temporal pencil plane, Tenet reference. But yeah, like it's operating in a different type of way, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people are going to be turned off by this film when they get into it, because it's a very like slow and dry film, and it doesn't really ramp up until like halfway through the movie, where you start to realize what these characters are trying to do and what they're going through. But yeah, that's the main plot of this film. And first off, I gotta give hats off to the actors in this movie. I've seen Justice Smith before in a lot of things, and he's been playing kind of like the same roles over and over again, kind of like the wimpy, nerdy characters, especially in Dungeons and Dragons. I wasn't really a fan of his style of acting in that movie, but here he plays kind of like the wimpy, kind of anxiety-induced protagonist very well. His style of acting works here, and you can say the same thing with Bridget Payne, who their acting has been kind of improving over the past couple of years. I've seen her in Atypical, and here she's amazing. She really conveys the emotional aspect of this film as the film progresses and her character starts to sort of disappear from the plot. Things get like really fucking crazy, and Justice Smith's character Owen is trying to like pull the pieces together. And I think Justice Smith, in those scenes where the other character is gone, he really like pulls it in. It really gives kind of a commanding and kind of understated performance in this, and it's works for its own benefit. And to top it off, Jane's direction in this is very improved from her last film. Her last film was also dealing with existential dread and just teenage angst, and here she pretty much does the same thing, but now she has a bigger budget, and she also pulls in influences from David Lynch's Twin Peaks and Greg Araki's films from like the '90s, like Nowhere or Mysterious Skin, and kind of like pulls those two together and make something that's very unique and still fresh for the audience's eyes. And here, like, I think her direction in this is way more streamlined compared to her last film, and she really has a good eye for cinematography and colors and just framing of the characters in the frame and out of the frame. And even then, like with some of the frustrations I have earlier in this movie and even later in this movie, I still was really riveted by a lot of the stuff that was happening, even though it's like super messy. And it's again messy at its fault, and it's supposed to be messy because of the way these characters are. But yeah, like I think Jane, she really pulled it in, and she really pulled something that's way unique and way more kind of original compared to a lot of the other teenage angsty stuff that's on Netflix. But yeah, that's another good thing about this movie. Now, I did mention that I do have some problems with this movie, and I don't want to spoil it because I think this movie needs to be seen a couple times to really understand what is going on. But I could say that I did fuck with the vision, but I kind of was kind of mixed with the vision itself. I think Jane, again, she has a good eye for David Lynch's style of filmmaking, where you just pull all of the like dry and like existential, like crushing and some kind of unparalleled images that are like happening throughout the entire film. Again, this film is dealing with media and how we consume it and how we use the type of media to cope with our trauma. And some of the stuff that is used with like the TV show, The Pink Opaque. First, it starts out pretty fine, where it's just a typical teen show with like a monster of the week in between each episode or even every episode. But then the show itself starts to manifest these characters and start to really take a hold of the characters, and they start to really fall in love and be extremely attached to the show to the point where their real life is kind of just a far distant place. And again, the theme of this film is dealing with media and how we consume it and how we take that set of media and apply it to our real life. And there's a lot of like interesting ideas that are like played throughout this entire movie, with the media being kind of a part of our lives, and then as we grew up, that type of media starts to disappear and somewhat contort and change as we try to revisit the media, but it's completely different, or it's not what we used to seem or used to like back then, because we've changed as a person, But I think here in this movie, it doesn't really give you a clear answer to why, the television show starts to either disappear or change for these characters. It just happens, and you just kind of go with it. I think that's like one of the first kind of signs of this movie kind of being conflicting with its themes. And then secondly, I think going back to the way this film is being advertised, this film was advertised as like a straight-up horror movie, but it's not a horror movie. Again, it's a psychological thriller dealing with just people going through sad shit. And again, with the body image issues being kind of reflective of the trans experience. And I think this movie gives a lot of breadcrumbs, and it gives a lot of avenues and kind of lanes for you to pick and choose whether or not these characters are either growing away from their past or are still manifesting a lot of these damaged ideas. And it's another, again, movie that I have to kind of watch again and again to really kind of get exactly what Jane is trying to do. So obviously right now I can't really rate it like extremely high, but I think it's a really solid movie, and I think it's one of the movies that needs to be seen right now and needs to be consumed and kind of reflected as a whole. And again, that's just me. There's a lot of people who have interpreted this movie in different ways. Most recently, Double Toasted did a review of this, and they've kind of trashed it, but in kind of another way, because it's more of a generational thing, as like the hosts are way older than the protagonists in this movie. So again, this movie, it's niche. It's for an audience that might either understand where they're at as a person or before they were teenagers, And again, it's also a 90s thing because this movie is set in the 90s, and there's a lot of references to 90s television shows and this 90s stuff that happened around that time. But again, this movie does actually open up an avenue for just healing and just understanding of oneself, whether it's with your body or just your mind. And I think this movie really does a decent job kind of opening that avenue. But yeah, this movie, it's really interesting, and I'm glad I checked it out. I'll be definitely watching it again and again, and I'll probably be watching it again one more time, maybe a little bit baked. But yeah, that's I Saw the TV Glow. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment if you like this movie or not. I'll be making more videos, even shorter ones, because I'm doing school right now. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care.